Unless you've been living under a rock for the entirety of your life, chances are you're familiar with the world's most infamous dictators. Because dictators always rule with an iron fist, they show off their bravado with stunts that shows their alpha level masculinity. When Putin is not busy being brainwashed by his generals about how the Russian army is destroying NATO over in Ukraine, or teaching brainwashed history lessons to the world's only journalist who was fired by Fox News, Putin often show off his bravado nakedly to the world. There are dozens of photos of Putin out in the wild, riding his favorite horse and feeding it while staring at it maliciously. There's even a photo of Putin in a submersible that would probably take him down to the Titanic. This is not, however, only exclusive to Mother Russia. Take, for instance, the Philippines' last president, who allegedly went into a war zone just to use a sniper against ISIS-backed terrorists, and North Korea's Kim Jong-un, posing with his favorite missile erected in the background, showing to the world that it could come anywhere in the US. But all of it pales in comparison to President Gurbanguly of Turkmenistan, who is by far the wackiest of them all. If we're going to put a gun on my head and force me to describe Gurbanguly in one sentence, it would probably be, what if Steven Seagal became a president? Just take a photo of him, remove the background, do some small edits, and you have the perfect made for DVD movie. Gurbanguly was born in 1957 in the Ahal province. He was the son of this guy, which has a name I'm not even going to try to pronounce. During his childhood, what we now call as Turkmenistan was still a part of the USSR, as the Turkmen Soviet Socialist Republic, like most countries that bordered Russia at the time. Because his father is an officer in a prison, Gurbanguly was no stranger to Soviet politics at the time. But still, in 1979, he decided to pursue a career in dentistry. Being the achiever that he is, he went all the way to Moscow, a place renowned for its work in medicine and in science, and decided to get a PhD in medical science, which he completed. After returning back to Turkmenistan, he easily landed a job as the head of the dentistry center for the Ministry of Health. This was during the rule of Niyazov, who became the first secretary of Turkmenistan's Communist Party, or in other words, without that communist jargon, the dictator of Turkmenistan. Just like Gurbanguly, he has his very own cult of personality. Although, unlike our Gurbanguly over here, he is much of a boomer. He doesn't focus much on TV stunts or making videos that would go viral online. During his rule, he only promoted his autobiographical book, Darunama. Most dictators who have written nationalistic books like Mao only integrate their books into a certain part of society, let's say education or government administration. But Niyazov took it a step further. The book is a requirement if you want to be employed at any job in Turkmenistan, as well as if you want to have a driver's license. So if you're a Turkmen who wants to know how to drive, you need to memorize this book first before you're even put in a driver's seat. But considering the extremely low traffic in the country, hitting another vehicle might be a challenge. Since this video is about Gurbanguly, here are several bullets about Niyazov that I found online. With a president like that preceding him, it's easy to imagine how Gurbanguly can get away with the things that he did. And as the century turned, he now got his big break to dictatordom. When Niyazov died in 2006 because of a heart attack, Gurbanguly was in the perfect position to take power. But there's a teeny tiny problem. Niyazov didn't name anyone to take his position, and even worse than that, by law, the chairman of the Assembly of Turkmenistan, who is a man named Atayu, would be the acting president. But in a move that surprised nobody, that didn't happen, as Atayu was arrested in the same month for multiple charges that range from abuse of power and human rights violation. Guess you can't run from human rights violation forever. Well, of course, if you're Gurbanguly. In true dictator fashion, an election was held in Turkmenistan that Gurbanguly won with a modest 89% of the vote, which, as you know by now, is probably a rigged election. Honestly, if I'm a dictator and I know from the start that the election would be rigged, I would just probably go the South Vietnam route because you already know you're going to win. Just exaggerate it to your heart's content. But anyway, this election cemented his rule as Turkmenistan's newest dictator. This is where his cult of personality truly begins, destroying Niyazov's already existing personality that is deeply embedded in Turkmen society. He starts by removing Niyazov's portrait, and near his second year as president, he also removed Niyazov's golden statue. During his rule, Gurbanguly's impulses became laws every good Turkman needs to follow. This includes the infamous banning of black cars and cars of colors in Ashgabat and sooner the entire country. It should be no surprise that Gurbanguly is obsessed with white, considering that by education, he is still a dentist. His obsession is so profound that the capital city of Ashgabat has the highest concentration of marble in any city in the world. White is not the only obsession of our great dear leader, mind you. He is also known to be an animal lover, an obsession he shares with his best friend, although animals don't feel the same way for Gurbanguly. Turkmenistan's dictators have more jobs than my favorite breadwinner. At one point, he is a rapper, a country musician, world-class weightlifter, rally driver, cyclist, jet fighter co-pilot, military instructor, and what else? Oh yeah, Gurbanguly is also a horse erotica writer, though I'm not sure if he's a fiction or non-fiction writer. But his most infamous stunt of all, one that gained online virality only rivaled by Wade Putin and Winnie the Pooh, is Gurbanguly's military preparedness video. In this propaganda video, he is depicted by showing off his talents to several soldiers and officers, posted in an outpost on the country's border. From point blank knife throwing to testing if the gun is loaded or not by shooting at Jesus, to pistol shooting that has more ass than aim, to one hand eyes closed shooting, Gurbanguly didn't hold back on us. But out of everything, my favorite is his bicycle drive-by. He does all of this surrounded by his army of yes men, which is probably standing in front of a firing squad off camera. The end of this propaganda video is wrapped up in a wholesome moment where Gurbanguly signed an autograph to all of the cardboard that he had killed, so that when those good for nothing cardboard reach hell, they would be bullied to death by getting killed by a man who shoots like this. The funny thing about this propaganda video is the fact that this became an actual weapon for the opposition that is based outside of Turkmenistan, where they added clips from the movie Commando as well as the movie soundtrack to the whole thing. The opposition delivered a poetic revenge to Gurbanguly by editing his propaganda video to memedom. On that note, our little story today would not end in an uprising that would usurp Gurbanguly, but with a transfer of power using a fraudulent election that puts his son, Serdar, into power, thus establishing a powerful political dynasty in the country, a milestone of dictatorship that is only reached by North Korea. As time goes by, it would be interesting to see how modern dictators will transfer their power when the time finally comes for them to retire. Will dictators like Xi, Putin, or Lukashenko find a suitable family member to take control of their respective country? Have some answer to it? Put it down below.